Today we're going to be looking at the much needed boost that Death Guard are going to be getting in their Psychic Awakening book, War of the Spider. Let's look at some plague companies then. Hello and welcome back to Auspex Tactics, the strategy focused 40k channel where we're all about getting the most out of our miniatures on the tabletop. So there's some new juicy details out for the Death Guard, some previews by Warhammer community of some of the new abilities and upgrades that they'll be getting in War of the Spider. In the article they've mentioned 3 discrete sections for Death Guard. They'll be getting a bunch of new relics, or relics of decay as they call them in the Death Guard, a slew of new stratagems available to the Death Guard, which are available to any army no matter what plague company you're from. And in a move that seems very similar to the Thousand Suns, they'll be getting 7 plague companies, and you can choose each detachment to be from any one plague company, and then you'll gain access to their Warlord Trait relic and some stratagems. I'll be hoping to cover War of the Spider in full, so if you are interested in the Death Guard stuff, feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics for a breakdown just as soon as I can get a video out. In any case, let's see what we've got today. So first of all, we've got one of the new relics of decay. This one's called the Demon's Toll, and it's a relic for the Noxious Blightbringer. This guy's the cheap little support character that allows you to roll 2d6 and pick the highest for advancing, and also gives a -1 leadership aura or -2 to psychers. This relic makes him frankly a much better supporting character, as it means that models in Death Guard units within 7 inches of him will get a 5+ invul save when they're units within 7 inches of him. Now that's actually an incredibly powerful buff just to have on any one random character, and I think that this is a really solid buffing relic. It is only going to have limited application within the Death Guard army, just because so many units already do sport a 5+ invul save, either for being Terminators or for being a demon of some sort. But frankly this is exactly what Plague Marines are going to want. Having a toughness 5, 5+ invul and 5+ feel no pain is just really annoying to shift, as anyone who's faced Iron Hands with that particular combo up and running will likely be happy to tell you. It doesn't work on Cultists or Poxwalkers I'm afraid, so it is just very much going to be the Death Guard Space Marine type units, as well as Chaos Spawn, which is hard to deny that it's a very significant durability buff to them. Basically this upgrade is going to be most relevant on the core Plague Marines, who I'm sure we'll be able to find some more synergies for in this book, with other beneficiaries being potentially the Hellbrute, Chaos Spawn, and perhaps Death Guard Predators as well, should you want to run them rather than the excellent Plague Burst Crawlers. Overall, I think it's a really good little relic. It's a bit of a shame that it's hard baked into him rather than any random Death Guard character, as frankly his other buffs aren't particularly amazing for a 50-point model. I must say though, I think that this would far increase the chance of getting more Noxious Blightbringers on the table though, and if you were already bringing one for whatever reason next to the units that I mentioned, then it's pretty much an auto-include. Certainly a good start there. Next we have a couple of stratagems. First of all we have a buff to the Plague Marines melee with a 1 command point stratagem called Trench Fighters. Basically just gives you extra attacks with your basic issue plague weapon, the Plague Knife, which I believe would mean that you'd typically be hitting with 3 attacks if you're also benefiting from Hateful Assault. Plague Knife attacks aren't bad, but they're not particularly overwhelming on their own. I think that this one's going to have most power when combined with Blades of Putrefaction, the psychic power that allows you to generate mortal wounds with plague weapons, and also gives them +1 to wound as well. Could be just another thing to throw into the mix if you've got a big unit of Plague Marines, you use Veterans of the Long War and this psychic power, and all of a sudden you're getting about 8 mortal wounds out of a 10-man Plague Marine unit, which is going to do a lot of hurts to basically whatever you're attacking. Next we have a more shooting orientated one, a 1 command point one called Overwhelming Generosity. That's basically a 6-inch buff to the range of plague weapons. This could be helpful in certain situations, particularly as some of those plague weapons are pretty short range, particularly things like a Bloat Drone's Plague Spitters for example. However, I think that this could be particularly useful for another little stratagem combo, using a big unit of Plague Marines to throw Blight Grenades, which again could be used for throwing a whole bunch of mortal wounds around. So 1 decent Warlord trait and 2 decent stratagems, all 3 highly useful to standard Plague Marines, which is certainly something that will be good to see in a Death Guard army in greater numbers. I think just being able to get a 5+ invul for them really is going to make them come back to the table a bit more. Theoretically you could be marching up the table with say 4 units of 10 Plague Marines, and with a Blightbringer with a 5+ invul save, they'll just be an absolute pain to get rid of, as they should be. Such units are going to be far more viable with extra stratagems to help them out at close range, both those Plague Knives and being able to throw Blight Grenades in large numbers at 12-inch range rather than 6. Hopefully the book will have a few more synergies with relics or things to help make them even more viable. Next we get into these plague companies then, and as we said we have 7 as is appropriate for Nurgle. Each company will get their own unique Warlord trait, a relic of their own, and their own stratagems. They do say stratagems plural rather than stratagems singular. I would suspect 2 for each company, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. First of all, the first plague company are the Harbingers, who apparently enjoy spreading the blessings of the zombie plague, and supposedly Typhus is one of these guys. I guess we'll have to see whether or not certain characters are only allowed to be taken in their own plague company or not. From their fluff, it sounds like they're going to be one of the ones to use if you're using Poxwalkers, and their stratagem is certainly one for Poxwalkers. For 1 command point you can deep strike 1 unit of Poxwalkers, and for 3 command points you can deep strike 2. You can only use the stratagem once per battle, and it's not unrestricted deep strike unfortunately. You have to set up the unit within 9 inches of a table edge, so it's not all that flexible as to where they come in. Now, Poxwalkers aren't quite as strong as they used to be when they first came out. I'm honestly not sure how much value we're going to get by trying to deep strike them. In general, they tend to be better as a screening unit, maybe run up alongside Typhus for toughness 4, and maybe some other buffs. It certainly could be annoying to have a unit to turn up on a flank with a 9-inch charge to maybe get into close combat with something unexpected, but I'm not certain it's going to be worth giving up their screening benefits for that. I guess we'll have to see if there's anything else in the book that can make them a bit more deadly. There's just 2 more bits that they've previewed. First of all, there's the Warlord trait called Eater Plague, and this one's for the 4th Plague Company, also known as the Wretched. This one seems to be quite a fun Warlord trait to me. When a model is destroyed as a result of an attack made by a melee weapon by this Warlord regains 1 lost wound, up to a maximum of 3 wounds per phase. Always nice to repair your own wounds by the decaying remnants of the enemies, I suppose. I think that this one could be particularly helpful for something like a Demon Prince. They should have enough high strength, high power attacks to be killing multiple enemy models per turn, and it really could give you another way to get even more wounds back after a Demon Prince is half killed. You would have to hope that the enemy does injure but not kill the Demon Prince, which is never guaranteed unfortunately, but I certainly think that this is decently strong. I hope that there will be a stratagem that will allow you to take more than 1 Warlord trait in the book. The Thousand Sons did get one in their release, so I think that we could be quite hopeful that the Death Guard would too. It would certainly make these a lot more viable, rather than just having to choose the best of many options. Finally, from the 5th Plague Company, known as the Poxmongers, we've got a 1 command point one for their demon engines, where they can basically just fall back and shoot. Certainly a nice one to have. Good to know that your Plagueburst crawlers won't just get locked up, although this one is going to be a little less relevant now that we know that tanks can shoot in combat against enemy units that are within 1 inches of them. Still not useless though. You might be wanting to fall back anyway to get better movement, or allow all the rest of your army to open up on whatever unit in combat with your vehicle. So this could certainly be a reasonable choice in plenty of situations, I think. So I think on the whole these have been some pretty reasonable buffs to the Death Guard, nothing absolutely outrageous, and at the moment that Blightbringer Relic for the 5+ invul save is pretty much my favourite buff that I've seen so far. I'll certainly be interested to see what they get with the full contents of this book, and I'll most certainly review the rules for the Death Guard when it comes out. If you've enjoyed the video, then feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics. We have plenty of 40k content coming out literally every single day, as well as covering the news for 9th edition and Psychic Awakening books as they come out. Finally, I'd just like to mention that the channel has a Facebook page and Discord server, both of which I use pretty regularly to communicate with people if there's any news going on for the channel. If you're enjoying the channel, then feel free to head over to Facebook and give it a like. If there's anything major happening with the channel, then I usually try and update you on there. The Auspex Tactics Discord server is also the main place that I use to talk with people about videos for the channel. It's really grown into quite a nice little 40k community. Feel free to use it as a resource to get advice on anything from 40k tactics to painting and modelling. You can leave me suggestions for any videos that you'd like to see, or also talk about any of the videos that have come out, including any feedback such as pointing out mistakes and errors. We've also got a painting competition that's still running at the moment, so head over to the painting competition channel if you'd like to see that. The Discord's freely accessible and 100% free to use, so feel free to give the channel's Facebook and Discord pages a look if there's something that you might find interesting. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.